How are you supposed to date someone that is trying to bring you down? How are you supposed to date someone who is trying to figure out ways to jab at you? And the thing is, they enjoy it. They enjoy it. They think they're getting one up on you. They're not, but they think they are. And they're gleeful about it all. Case in point, and there are many, many, many cases that I can point to where these women are just proud of what they're doing to men and how they're treating them. Watch her glee. Watch her glee. She's so proud of it. She's so proud of it. Proud of herself.
What is microfeminism? Oh, babes. It is the art of politely flipping the bird to the patriarchy, one petty little power move at a time. It's saying, no, I'm not done talking. It's not laughing at the joke that isn't even funny. It's just sexist. It's wearing the bold red lip, even though men prefer natural. And it's about choosing the biggest slice of cake because you want it, not because you deserve it, and not because you had a good workout today. Microfeminism is not about hating men. It's about refusing to shrink yourself to make them comfortable.
That's a convenient way to describe it. Totally convenient. They have it in their heads that you think the complete opposite. This is how they think you think. And that's how they can start hurting you, belittling you, taking your wallets. That's how they can do it without remorse. People often say, men often ask, well, how can they do that? Why would they do that? Well, because this is what they think they're fighting against. And while Mr. Fuentes would say that they've been tricked, and Pearl has been saying, don't give them that credit, they're both right. They're both right. And the thing is that I hate is that we're fighting about it instead of dealing with it. It's both right. If we're being honest. So anyway, here she goes with more. Super proud of herself and her big piece of cake.
And guess what, babes? It's a public service. So, what is your go-to microfeminist act of rebellion? Petty? Powerful? I want to hear all of it. Tag your bestie and let's trade tactics in the comments. What is microfeminism?
Tag your bestie. Let's trade. Petty, powerful. To think that being petty is being powerful and to need to be powerful. How can you be strong and independent and need to be powerful? Schrodinger's feminist. Welcome back to Far From Eden. There I am. You have to add yourself to the stage. You know, YouTube podcasters, content creators, what have you, one of the things about being a podcaster or newscaster, whatever, is deciding what are you going to cover. And I've heard some podcasters in the manosphere even say, gosh, I need the content. What am I going to use for content? I mean, I think it's the opposite. I think there's a plethora. I think there's so much content. It's really like, oh my God, what do I cover? Because whether it's jogging female police officers in booty shorts trying to catch catcallers, or it's these women admitting the ways they try to bring you down. Now, why would I cover this? Honestly, it's not funny for men to be hurt, but it's funny for them to think that you're going to notice that she took the big piece of cake and that you're going to be like, oh goodness, wow, what a powerful woman. Like, these little tactics that they use just prove why we should be secondary, honestly, as far as who's making the big decisions and who should get the big piece of cake. She'd be the one who's not trying to be manipulative with the big piece of cake. So anyway, we're going to look at BuzzFeed's article about women using microfeminisms in different circumstances. And, I have to say, not everybody, we're not born red pilled, right? So I'm sure that these were happening in your life before red pill and you didn't even realize it. And there might be there are always newbies that come and have no idea what they've been dealing with. They have no idea the lengths to which we will go. There is no limit to how petty we will be when it comes to getting power over you, manipulating you, extracting something from you. That is just the truth. So what I want to say is, please, when you are dating, which I don't recommend, please don't put anything past her. Okay? It might sound wrong, especially to a lovely gentleman who's always been taught to be the white knight. It might seem like you're being petty. It might seem like you're not giving the benefit of the doubt and you're just thinking the worst. But here's the thing. Maybe you haven't ever realized the extents to which we will go to cover our own rear ends, to avoid accountability, to avoid consequences. I mean, isn't that the purpose of avoiding accountability? So you can escape the consequences, which is weird because we always act like we've never heard of what a consequence is. How can it be both? Never put anything past us. So we're on number 11, and we'll kind of talk about these in between as we go. If there's something that is personal and I can reveal it about experiences I've had, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to dox anybody, but yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go there. If someone's asking for details about a show or movie they haven't seen, this is so stupid. I make an effort to list the names of the women cast in it first, as opposed to the men. Can you imagine how weird that would sound? If you're talking about, say, okay, I don't watch movies anymore, but like just imagine you're watching a James Bond movie. Saw a James Bond movie. You start to describe the female characters, like any movie where the star is a man. You're going to describe the female characters. You sound R word, which we cannot say. And everybody's in the chat. I'm like, what is it? Talk amongst yourselves. Whenever a man is upset, angry, or having whatever feeling, I'll say something like, you're being really emotional right now, or I can see you're having a lot of emotions and big feelings. I like pointing out men's emotions to show that everyone is emotional, not just women. It makes men realize they have feelings too and should be able to identify and express them. Isn't he expressing them? If you're going to talk about it, isn't that what he's doing? Also, you sound emotional about his emotions. I'm just going to point that out. That little sound that's Lola trying to get my attention because she wants to have her more screen time, as you guys said she should. So we will do it as I talk about the lady folk. Yeah, YouTube doesn't like these. I've been having to get reviews so that they will look at them and be like, oh yeah, I guess there isn't really anything technically wrong with this. Lola, let's go over here. I put it on the ground because I don't need her hurting herself. Anyways, so if you're new here, Lola's gonna be somewhere on screen, and the men like her. They don't listen to me. They just really wait for her. Because men are horrible, scary, mean. They could never like, a precious, vulnerable animal or baby. We actually, yes, we have been lied to our whole lives about who you are. But think about how easy it has been. Back to the argument between Fuentes and Pearl on Twitter, we have been lied to. obviously we've all been lied to about who's in control of what, who's in power, that there are overlords, that it's all a stage, etc. We've all been lied to about that, but particularly women have been lied to because we are the best. It's like the serpent in the garden. The serpent was manipulating Eve to get to Adam. It's no different. That's why this channel is called Far From Eden, because in one way, we have fallen so much farther, but in another way, are we really that far? Because the same thing is playing out. Anyways, yes, we've been lied to by the powers that be because it works for them to get the female vote, to vote in things like all of our lovely new neighbors coming in across the border, and various other things that the female vote is useful for. And also to break up the family, etc. And we all think it's our own idea. But in order for us to do these things, we have to be convinced that men are bad, that men are all these different, things, predatorial, etc., not interested in family, anything of the sort, want to chain us up in the kitchen. And none of that's true. But Pearl's argument is, look at what we've done with it. Why we take our clothes off and become 304s en masse. Why is it so easy to be this petty, this mean, etc.? Because there's an element of nature. There's an element of human nature to it. Male nature, female nature. You've got Genghis Khan over here as the extreme masculine, and you've got the queen of the 304s over here on the other side, like Delilah or Bathsheba, whoever it may be, or Eve, to bring down the other. So there are extremes that are both negative. However, our extreme is very good at pulling down Christendom. So they're both right. And it's great. The overlords love for them to fight with each other about it. They want us to all fight with each other. Who's a tradcon? Who's not a tradcon? But I'm going to tell you what they're doing to you in normal everyday life, in your work, on a date, specifically like on a date or in social settings, because at work, what are you going to do? But you should know so that your brain, so you don't question your reality and say to yourself, am I just seeing it where it's not? Am I just seeing this hate where there is none? No, you're seeing it. You're seeing it. Plus, they're hilarious because it's so stupid. The only child in my life is my nephew. It's not an intentional act of microfeminism, but I always mind my words. Stop it. So he knows feeling, expressing emotions is okay, and that he doesn't need to suppress them because he's a boy. It's not suppressing. It's emotional regulation. That's the other reason to read this, is because it reveals so much. And they don't even know. Like, we tell on ourselves constantly. And what I'm helping you to do is understand when it is we're telling on ourselves. Like, if you're telling little boys that when they have emotions and feelings that they shouldn't suppress them, you are telling them to not regulate their emotions. And I ask you, when you look at crime and you look at single motherhood, this is a reason they're correlated. Some might say there's a causation there, which I would say that, because if you don't teach people to regulate their emotions, their feelings, their actions, because that's what it leads to, you're going to have higher crime. So they think they're doing these microfeminisms. In reality, you're just confessing all the things that we already say. Okay, so she's not even done. I never label anything as masculine or feminine around him. The rise of the rainbow children. I've never heard my brother or the mum making a big deal about gender, and he's a sweet kid, so hopefully it will stick and he'll grow into a healthy adult. Not likely. Not likely. Not likely. He's going to grow into a confused adult who cannot regulate his emotions. Sounds like doesn't have any strong role model. So that's a microfeminism directed at a little boy. We need to pay attention to who's hurting the children and how. Because there are many ways to hurt people that don't involve physical anything. And the gender that is at a disadvantage physically is going to figure out how to get around that. And that's where you get family court, you being just a wallet, and all these microfeminisms. And I think instinctively, well, not instinctively, I take that back. I take that back, you guys. Just as we've been lied to. You've been told we are sugar and spice and all things nice. And we're women, so we're gentle. And we're just all these things naturally. No. You have probably, even a lot of the red pill guys and even some of the MGTOW guys, I've had to say to them, oh my gosh, with all you know, it's worse. We are worse than what you think. Whatever you think we're capable of, it's more. So let's let them reveal it to us themselves. I don't have to sit here and accuse anybody. I don't have to sit here and make a blanket statement and just tell you what I think I know. They're telling you. I intentionally only take my daughter to female pediatricians. I was always taken to male doctors, not purposely, I'm sure. Yeah, well, back in the day, women weren't getting all these incentives to be doctors. Easier entry to college, easier to be hired, all these things. So there are a lot more women doctors now. Okay, and grew up thinking that only men could be doctors. No, you didn't. Shut up. No, you didn't. Liar. You grew up, then you're stupid. Okay, you grew up thinking that only men could be doctors because you only had a male pediatrician. Sit down. You're really that dumb? So she's either lying or she's incredibly dumb. Which one do you want voting? Of any person? Any person. I mean, do we want liars voting? Do we want, ideally, no. Obviously, nobody's perfect character, but I'm just saying, if this is what you say out in the open, really, you're going to say, oh, okay, I thought doctors could only be men. I want my daughter to see women and as many career options as possible. Careful, she's going to think men can be doctors if she's as dumb as you. She has seen women mechanics, scientists, and other in male-dominated careers. Has she seen any mothers? Because I wouldn't count you as one so far. Not getting out of the way for men walking directly at me. Not having a pleasant face or an it's okay attitude when inconvenienced or irritated by random men. So you're just not pleasant. They don't understand that people can be crappy. Just because you come across a man who's kind of not a nice guy, not a good guy, whatever, that's not all men. It's a small percentage. You're looking for them. And you may have even caused him to act a certain way. One day, you guys, this is so bad. One day, I'm not going to say I hope this happened. I would never, ever say such a thing. Let's say she's walking down the street and there's a man walking towards her. She doesn't get out of the way. So it's a game of chicken. So it's like a person on it. That's rude. A person on a scooter versus a person in a big giant SUV. I think you should move. I think you should get out of the way. You're really, again, dumb. You don't know that guy. How? Okay, again, dumb or a liar, because I thought men were dangerous. I thought you'd rather come across a bear. And yet, you're willing to play chicken with one on the sidewalk. And you already think that he's doing this because he's a bad one. Okay, so you want to start a fight with him? These things do not stand up. They're just so angry and nasty that they're getting, this is a terrible phrase, but they're enjoying telling people the things they do that are basically mean, basically rude, mean, unpleasant. Because she goes on to say, because she's proud of being unpleasant, yeah, not having an it's okay attitude when inconvenienced or irritated by random men. Example, a guy standing behind me in line kept stepping forward and standing side by side with me. I made a face and asked him to give me some space. He first replied, "Oh, you're okay." That's funny. As if I had apologized. His confusion increased as my scowl remained. He's not confused, lady. He's thinking, what a biscuit. His scowl remained as we continued in line. He fell behind me and didn't speak to me again. Score. Look, I've stood in plenty of lines, and it's been my personal experience, although I realize only anecdotal, that it's women that will get in my space and push forward or cut. Like if you're at Disneyland or whatever, like it's so sorry, lady. I mean, I think they're just looking for it. And your scowl, seriously. I want to know what micro masculinisms you guys have. Are there micro masculinisms? I don't know. Okay, ready? Oh, this is so, I think we're just getting dumber. They didn't put them in order of like, I wouldn't even say smartest. I translate sentences on Duolingo into the feminine form when I'm practicing languages with gender. I just bit my tongue. I'm so mad. So the judge is intelligent becomes the feminine judge is feminine intelligent. For example, got to train the AI to account for women. That's so funny. The feminine judge is feminine intelligent. Feminine intelligent. I mean, thanks for warning us. Feminine intelligent. Tell me in the comments what you think that would mean. Feminine intelligent. Also, hit like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and let us continue. And this also just reveals insecurity. I have never felt the need to say the feminine judge is feminine intelligent anytime I have studied another language. It's just ridiculous. It just goes to show how threatened you are by men. And once again, if you're confident in yourself as a woman and in what women are, etc., then you wouldn't need to do any of this. At the end of the day, womanism is just insecurity. And that's what it feeds off of. Like any victim mentality where you've been oppressed, for so long that it's just, you're just a victim. So you have to continue to prove that in order to, I don't know, demonstrate why you don't have the competence to be, actually compete with men. It's the thing. It's like, it's easier to pull a person down off of a chair than it is to pull them onto a chair. So it's easier to pull you guys down than it is to lift up. But here's the thing. They are trying to lift women up to be the same as men. And that's just never going to be. An elephant is never going to swim as good as a fish. They're different. And I'm not insecure about that. So I'm going to say that to a feminist one day. I have made it to a point to try to be more intentional with my interactions with little girls so that it is not centered on appearance. Example, instead of complimenting them on their pretty dress, I'll ask them what their favorite subject in school is and why, what their hobbies are, etc. One of my go-tos is what their favorite dinosaur is. Every kid I've ever asked, regardless of sex, has a favorite dinosaur and can tell me why it's their favorite. I was just thinking about, did I have a favorite dinosaur? And before 11, I don't think I did. And after 11, it would have been, I like the ones that are vegetarians, because then they're not going to, they're more peaceful. Because even at a young age, I was still female and clearly didn't understand hierarchy and that life is brutal and that you can't kumbaya your way through life. So I can even analyze that, but I analyze this stuff all day, every day. And all you're doing really is finding truth. And these people, why do we love to confess it? It's just something about us that's like, you know what it is? It's ego. They have so much ego that they're like, I can reveal all this, and they still won't know what I'm doing. The men are onto you. That's what they don't understand. The men are onto you, and they don't want this anymore. On one hand, you've got the microfeminism people on TikTok. On the other hand, you go, where are all the good men? The good men don't put up with this. They just don't. Tired of it. And they're not dumb. You're not as covert as you think you are. As a former manager, I was really aware of men versus women's salaries. Oh, no. Are we at this argument again? It keeps perpetuating. It's been shot down so many times. As a former manager, how terrifying. I was really aware of men versus women's salaries and worked to equalize them when possible. I first rated performance, but then would look at salary parity. I first rated performance, but then would look at salary parity. Are you saying that you looked at performance and couldn't justify making it equal that way? And then you were like, yeah, but it should be the same anyways. That's kind of what it is. As soon as you let them know, hey, but Bob over here produces more, right? He makes more sales. What else can you do? He repairs more this. I said more sales. He makes more money for the company, basically. And you're over here not making as much, not putting in the extra time, not giving the extra effort. You shouldn't make the same money. You haven't given equal value. Pay the person based on their value. What these ladies fail to understand is that if it were the case that you could pay women at a lower salary than you paid men, then companies would fill. I mean, they certainly wouldn't look. There's nothing stopping them. No one's going to complain if they fill their company up with female workers. They would complain if you filled your company up with male workers, because that's sexist. But if you repair the years of injustice and you fill your company up with women, well, then you just get to, save money. Clearly, they don't do that. I guess the women think, well, that's just how much they prefer men. No. They companies don't see color and they don't see gender. They see green. And if you don't understand that, maybe that's why you're not making as much money. Oh, it's so nice for them to say these things in their little echo chambers, right? But they're not, because we can see you and you're not getting away with it. You think you're getting away with it. Like a little 2-year-old with his hand in the cookie jar. And you can hear him in the next room and he thinks he's getting away with it because he's 2 years old and he can't think because he's not, he's not that bright. We ladies, we're in the kitchen with the cookie jar. And the men know. And they're not just hearing us with our hand in the cookie jar. They're leaving. They're leaving. Why on earth would you think that you should one day have a husband, a relationship and stuff, if this is how you behave, not just towards men, but just towards other people, this is not good. This is a reflection of bad character. And I smile because I'm like, this is not new. These microfeminisms are not new. I'm not new to this planet. A lot of these women who are talking about microfeminism, like maybe they're in their 20s and they don't understand. And maybe some of the men in their 20s don't understand that women have been doing this for generations now. Different ways to pull you down, to put you in your place and to lift us up, to manipulate you and make you think that you're the bad guy. To make you think those things. But it's finally gotten to the point where we are, it used to be more covert. And there used to be more, we're all sugar and spice and all things nice, but that's fading away. Look, I already took you out. That's fading away. And especially the Gen Z guys now are like, look, the emperor has no clothes on. And we're going to say it. We are not going to sit here and pay for all the dates and be treated this way. And furthermore, what else are you up to? And that they don't have to play anymore. If they don't want to date you, they don't have to date you. This is not the 1950s where they just felt like they had to take it, because this stuff is not new. It's just that. What's new is men really seeing it for what it is and walking away. And that's one of the reasons I make these sorts of videos, is because men find them on YouTube, or the videos find the men. And they learn that it wasn't just their brain playing tricks on them. They have been treated poorly. And it is intentional, and it's as petty as you can possibly imagine. So watch out for all of it. Don't put up with any of it. You don't have to. You can call it out in sort of the ways I did. By the way, every little girl would rather you tell her you like her pretty dress, because human nature is human nature. And that's what we like. Sorry, we're never going to love dinosaurs as much. And I think that's good. But then I love women for what women are. These feminists clearly don't. Avoid them. And by them, I mean 97% of all of us. And then you'll be protecting your peace. You'll be able to feed your souls. I love you guys. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.